Coming up, a Sad Styles production.
Get into it.
Boogerman.
Yeah, you
Jonathan
know what?
Boogerman.
Is that his first name?
No. But if it were,
Yep.
I think he'd sound a little bit more respectful.
I think he'd sound a little something like,
Like
this. Okay, I just got to say off the top, this is going to probably come up a few hundred times. I don't like
Boogers.
humor. I don't find this funny. I find it gross. I don't like this. And the fact that this was a title of a video game upsets me. Like, I became a parent. I'm like, ugh, how dare they in the industry?
It's funny because the feeling in the room changed as soon as you were about to say that. Like, I felt tense. Like, you're like, listen, I'll do it, but I'm not happy.
Oh, my God. All right, let's do it. And welcome to the Retrograde
Podcast where we remind you what you used to love and whether or not you still should.
I'm Andrew Bascom, and with me, as always, is the bad boy of podcasting, Mr. Bebop himself.
Mikey, Linux, Aaronworth.
Oh, yes. Oh, of course, because we're playing the titular Boogerman.
The titular Boogerman, a game that I have wanted to do since the incarnation of this podcast.
That's great, man.
And the game that every time we bring up, you cringe, and I can feel the air in the room change.
Yes. Yeah, I don't find booger humor very funny.
Yeah, you're very highbrow. We know that.
I am incredibly highbrow about things. If you've listened to last month's episodes of the Retrograde, which is now back in the coffin, buried in the ground.
Thank God.
Thank God. By the way, that's Mikey Aaronworth. We're back for another week.
Hey,
of
babies.
Retrograde. It's back in the ground. We can now enjoy video games again, and I'm so excited to do that. And then Mikey's like, "We're gonna play Boogerman." I'm like, "Motherfucker." Everything sucks.
Well, if you're new to this podcast, first of all, welcome. Typically what we like to do is take a look back at the games that we used to play when we were kids. Usually it's something that we had an affinity towards one way or another, good or bad.
Good or bad.
Rate and review the game as we remember it back when we played it. Then we take a little bit of a break. We play the game, play some of the audio and the video if you're watching over on YouTube, and come back and rate and review the game as it holds up in the modern day against the likes of modern games. But before talking about the game, we usually take a little bit of a left turn and talk some nonsense. Catch ourselves up on our lives and our day-to-day.
Yes. So instead of getting to the serious talk about the video game Boogerman,
yes,
we need to instead talk nonsense.
The people have been demanding it. Now, have you read The New Yorker recently, Andrew? Let's talk nonsense for a while.
As a subscriber of The New Yorker, yes, I do.
Are you actually?
Yes, I do.
Or The New York Times? Both?
I did both.
Really?
Thank you very much. The Atlantic is a little too long for me. I like The Atlantic. It's just like every time it sits there and I'm like, I'll get to it eventually. But every article is like fucking 20 pages long.
Do you get like physical?
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
Thank you.
Good for you.
Thank you.
Support print journalism.
I'm keeping journalism alive. Unlike Outlast, which is killing journalism one by one.
That's true, or trying to. Killing it in the womb, literally.
Yes. I guess so, yeah. I didn't think about it like that, but you're right. So we're talking about last week's episode, Outlast, where you play a journalist that's getting hunted by a crazy cult.
We were calling them hill people pretty freely in the last episode.
We let it fly. We were so confident that they were hill people.
And now we have HPETA, which is the hill people ethical treatment of animals. Coming after us. And it's been fun.
We deserve representation. Thank you for playing Outlast.
Thank you, three-legged Carl.
Yes, exactly. That was so weird. That was a lot of fun, though. That was a fun game to play. I'm really glad we ended on that.
Yes.
I'm glad it's done.
The gameplay was one of my favorites, not necessarily to play, but to rewatch and listen to. Yeah. The gameplay in Outlast from last week was phenomenal. I think it will outlast the test of time.
Hey,
that.
Wouldn't that be great?
Now, Andrew, I wanted to ask you this before we turned the mics on, but I thought it might make for a good conversation because you have already really just dug your heels into the ground and said, booger humor ain't for me.
Nope.
What is your favorite bodily fluid?
Favorite in what way?
I'll take my answer off the air.
What the hell? I have so many follow-ups.
Okay, bye. We'll see you. I'll hear you next week.
Oh my God. What is my favorite to joke about?
Sure. That's one way to look at that question.
What is your favorite?
Well, you answer it.
I guess my favorite is blood because it operates my system. I don't know. Like, what you stupid question, stupid answer.
Your favorite one to joke about.
I think I'm not a big toilet humor guy.
Wait, what?
I'm not. Hey, I'm a humor guy. Don't get me wrong. I love humor, but I don't always find it funny
Andrew,
about.
What's the first thing you did into your microphone when you got it?
You farted, not me.
You farted as well.
No, I didn't. I laughed at it. I thought it was very funny when you farted into the microphone.
What's your least favorite bodily fluid?
I would say booger humor. I don't like this. Yes.
You don't like this at all.
I don't like.
Does it make you nauseous? Do you get sick?
No, not like that. But I all of a sudden become like, my like somebody's dad at a party. Like, no, okay, all right.
This isn't for me.
No, it's not for me. Like, yeah, a lot of toilet humor. I'm just not a huge fan of. Mikey, can't explain this to you. There's no underlying trauma that started this. I promise you. See, I don't know why you keep asking about it.
No.
I'm sweating unrelated.
Methinks the lady doth protest too much, I think.
Thank you.
I love some toilet. I love fart jokes. I love fart jokes. I used to love booger jokes, but boogers gross me out now. So
what?
I may have some issues with this game as well. Now, here's the thing.
You set me up.
I relate to my mom in a few ways. One of it is
mother-son.
Yes. That's primo number one of the bullet. That's how I relate to my mom. The other, probably number two, is that when my brother and I wanted to play this game, and the only reason we wanted to play this game is because it was called Boogerman, we told our mother we demanded that she go to the video game store and rent it for us because we were at school and we wanted to make sure that she got it before someone else did. So she didn't realize, I don't think it clued into her that there could have been a game so vile as Boogerman. Yeah. So I think when we told her the title, she was thinking something like, Boogerman or Booger, like Boogeyman or something.
Ogre Man.
Yeah, something like that. So when she went to the store and she asked, can I would like to rent Boogerman. And apparently the people at the store looked at her like, do you know what this game is? And gave it to her. And she was repulsed. So much so that when she picked us up from school, we sat in the back seat. She didn't turn the car on. She turned
like an
around,
Uber driver.
Like an Uber driver. Yeah. We said, Mother.
Yes.
I'll give you a tip if you take me where
she
I want
wore
to
her
go.
chapeau. Yeah.
Your Uber drivers are wearing chapeaus these days?
Always. Yeah, they hold my name out front.
Oh,
like,
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
and the sign, of course, for your mother said, 2 asshole children. Sit in the back. I'm going to yell at you for a bit.
And she didn't. She turned around. She was like, how dare you set me up like this? And we're like, Mom, it's called Boogerman. We were surprised you agreed to get it for us, but like, what more do you want from us? We told you the name of it.
Yeah.
And she got it, and I don't think she's ever forgiven us for it.
No, yeah. And she played that game with you guys all night. All night. Loved it.
All night
long. Like, I forgive you guys.
Well, you know how some parents like make you smoke the whole pack if they catch you? She made me eat my brother's boogers, and he had to
see, this is the kind of stuff. No, thank you. So we are above that.
I honestly, to the point when I was reading back up on this game, even the title is written in green boogers.
Yes.
And it grossed me out to the point where I'm like, I'm feeling a little queasy. So I don't know how this is going to go.
So what year is this from?
This is a game that came out. Well, it depends on which system you're playing. If you're playing this on the
PS5,
the PS5, actually, well, it did come out in WiiWare not too long ago. But it came out on the Genesis in '94, and then it came out afterwards on the SNES in '95, which is weird.
That's weird.
Usually, it's opposite.
Yeah, but '94 does not shock me. So I was gonna guess it's early '90s.
Yes,
we were much more into that humor of like Ren and Stimpy.
Yeah,
those 2 little rapscallions.
Yeah,
and we were much okay with like we were much better. Excuse me, with like not pushing it to the full edge. And this is why I think it's funny that I'm repulsed by, this kind of humor because like we make
good humor is what you're saying.
Yes, good humor. Yes, obviously ice cream. But it's that we make a lot of jokes on this podcast that are maybe not for everyone's taste sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's somehow we're going up a little bit and I'm like, no. I don't so in the 90s, it feels like one of those things where like you couldn't go the full way like we do on the podcast, but you could get this far.
This was like the shortcut to dirty humor. It was like sex was still taboo, but boogers, they were taboogers.
Yeah. Like I said the word motherfucker before you even introduced the podcast. So like that's the kind of, I don't know. I'm just trying to explain why. I know it doesn't make any sense, but hey, it doesn't have to make sense. That's how I feel.
That's how you feel. Well, Andrew, how do you feel about me talking about Deathloop for a little bit before we?
Are you back on Deathloop?
I'm back on Deathloop. I played it quite a bit over the weekend. Now that I'm not playing Dread as much because I'm at home. I'm not traveling to and from my cottage. Which is
Dread, right?
Metroid Dread.
Yeah.
I got back into Deathloop. I have some thoughts I would like to tack on to my initial thoughts.
Oh, you have a compendium or like
an append.
What is the word that we're trying to say?
What is the word?
What is
appendix?
Appendix? No, that can't be.
No, I can't. It can't.
No, that's.
I would like to append. I would like to append my earlier.
I want to get my appendix removed.
Yeah. Addendum. An addendum.
Yes. Thank you very much. Wow.
we're pretty aden dumb, if you ask me, for not being able to figure that out.
Christ.
So Deathloop, I've had a lot of great things to say about it. I think the mechanics of this game are phenomenal.
Right.
I think I'm realizing, though, that the overall concept of a time loop game might just not be for me, because as much as I enjoy the minute-to-minute gameplay, I love the way that the different interactions of some of the magic and weapons play with one another, and using them in different contexts feels really good. I don't love the idea of, like, when you finish a loop and you go through the different stages at different points during the day, and then you start back at the beginning. It just feels like it feels repetitive in a way that they actively go out of their way to try to avoid, because they're constantly changing each of the levels at each of the different times of day. They make it so that your objectives will open up based on past things that you've learned, so you can explore different parts of each level. So they do a lot to change it, but ultimately I can't get over the fact that I am replaying the same 4 levels over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And one of them, I think it's Carl's Bay is called, I actively don't like.
Oh.
And so 25% of the game, I'm going back to this place where I just don't want to be. I just don't want to be there. I don't like the level design. I don't like the color palette. I don't like what you have to do in there. It's a lot of warehouses, and I'm just bored going to it.
Whoa.
And then there's this constant feeling of, like, as much as I'm playing it and I'm progressing, because you are replaying things a lot, I often feel like I'm, like, not making progress.
Yeah.
And there's this thought of, I don't think I'm ever going to beat this game. I don't think I'm ever going to put together the quote-unquote perfect run to get you to beat it. But every time I do replay it, and I do feel the desire to replay it, they did a masterful job designing the mission structure to make it so that you never really feel lost as to what you're supposed to be doing or what mysteries you're supposed to be solving, because it's a big enough world that I think it would make you feel incredibly lost sometimes if they didn't hold your hands. But they're always, I've never found myself playing and thinking, like, I don't know where I could go to find my next step. And because of that, I'm always much more willing to start another loop, because I'm like, oh shit, there's that one thing now that I want to go try. And in the process of getting there, it opens up one more thing in a way that feels like you're stumbling upon the mysteries, but is definitely planted there to make sure that your track through this game is more linear than it might initially seem.
Okay.
So, mixed thoughts, very mixed thoughts, but I am really enjoying my time with it. It's just sometimes I feel like it's a little bit overwhelming, the idea of going back and doing the same thing over and over again.
Right. No, I understand that. Okay, so this is you're not gonna like this. Okay. I'm just gonna preface
What, doing the podcast with you?
No, you love that.
Okay.
Is that I'm gonna preface this by saying you're not gonna like this.
Oh,
I'm gonna say.
fuck, I know where you're going with this.
So we have a hashtag around here. And it's Mikey doesn't finish, because Mikey doesn't finish video games. Okay. I'm telling you, D-pads at home right now.
Don't listen to him.
So it's really hard to take your opinion on games, because you come in hot every time and you're like, hey, this game is phenomenal. I love this game. And then it goes away, like most video games do, and do not get finished, because I think this is why. Because the more you play them, you're like, I don't know, I don't love this game as much anymore. Like, you know Andy, I don't want to play with you anymore. And the toy gets dropped into the toy cabinet.
You know what it might be?
What's that?
Is maybe my attention span for a 30-hour game just isn't there.
Okay.
Like, maybe I want shorter games.
Right.
Could be that.
Right.
I do think ultimately I will beat Deathloop. I do. But I wouldn't be surprised if I don't, in a weird way. Because,
so wait a second. Both options are on the table.
Well, no, but this is both options are definitely on the table. But here's the thing: is there isn't a beginning, middle, and end to this game in the way that there are a lot of storytelling games. And sometimes I don't want to play in an open world and just happenstance my way into a perfect run through the level, because when I think about making a quote unquote perfect run through the day, which is what you need to do in order to beat the game, you have to redo a lot of things that you've done in the past, and that seems annoying to me.
Right.
I've done them already once, and now I have to do them again in order to line things up to get it all to where it needs to be at the end. And that final piece of the puzzle just seems very boring to me because I've done each of the individual bits before, and that unlocks like the final set piece, and I get it, but it's not like Ratchet and Clank, where it takes you from level to level to level to level, and once you get to the last one, you beat that, you're done. You do have to make a decision to be like, this is going to be my run, I'm going to do it now, and I'm making the choice to go replay a bunch of areas that I've just played and do the exact same things that I've done in the past. And that final piece of the puzzle, in terms of motivating me to beat it, just feels lacking in a way.
So here are the big updates you need to know. Cole's notes here of this. Mikey has not finished Deathloop. And the two options are he might finish it.
Oh, yeah,
but he
what's
might
the other
not
one?
finish
Yeah,
it.
that's true. That's true. You know, when you put it that way,
these are, who knows what might happen, but it's one of those two probably.
I was playing Deathloop and I was like, I want to turn this off and play Death Stranding. And I'm like, don't fucking do it. Don't do it. You beat Death Stranding already. Let that one lie.
And then you play Death Stranding, you're like, I want to play Overwatch.
Yes, that's basically what happens.
How's Overwatch going? Are you back on Overwatch? We put off the freeze of Overwatch.
We put off the freeze because
thought it out.
September, it's getting cold, so we're putting a freeze on Overwatch. That was the month that we called it.
Yes.
I play an hour or two a week, probably.
An hour or two a week?
Yeah,
that's
not
it.
that much.
Oh,
I haven't had a ton of time to game consistently.
Okay.
When I do, who knows what the fuck's going to happen?
Oh my God.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll get right back on that train.
Just wake up 2 days later. It's, oh my God, what happened?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I don't know. I would love to play. Also, Guardians of the Galaxy will be out by the time I think that this podcast launches, and some of the reviews are coming out. Surprising to me that it's getting pretty good reviews.
Pretty good reviews.
It's not like 9s and 10s. There are some of those out there, but around the 8 range, which is way more than I expected, honestly.
Right.
I'm happy about that as well. I don't want to make a prediction that a game is going to be bad and then it's bad and say, ha ha, I told you so.
Yeah.
I would love to be proven wrong, because why wouldn't I want more good games out there?
The Nelson Muntz special, yes.
Ha ha. Have you seen much about the Guardians game? Are you excited about it?
You know what's funny? I saw the trailer when it originally came out. I've seen some screenshots. I saw the hilarious how much space it takes up on your computer. And that turned out to be wrong. It was like it takes 250 gigabytes.
Yes.
And you're like, oh, okay. And then it doesn't, which is good. But yeah, no, I'm very interested in it. The only issue is the Avengers game kind of cooled me to this a little bit.
Yeah, I think this game would be a lot more exciting had the Avengers game not come out previously.
Yes.
But this isn't a Guardians game in the way that Avengers is an Avengers game,
right,
where you play as a bunch of different people. You only play as Peter Quill.
Yeah.
Peter Quill, right?
Yeah, Peter Quill. No.
Star-Lord himself.
Believe in yourself.
I do. Andrew, that's a big ask. You know me better than that. But I think that the fact that you are only playing as one person in this and commanding the group around you is cool. Like I saw in one of the reviews, in the middle of a battle, you can have like a little huddle and give a motivational speech.
That's
hilarious. Then it's so fucking cool.
That's so
While
cool.
like 80s music is playing, I'm like, I'm not going to get it because I have a ton of other games to finish, but I might get it.
These are the two options being presented to Mikey.
It goes back to my hashtag, better bought than beaten.
Better bought than beaten.
Better to buy than to beat.
Well, you came up with it. Don't look at me.
I need to outsource this one. I need some help on it.
All right, D-Pats. What is the hashtag Mikey should have as a rebuttal? Oh, rebuttal. Maybe it was a rebuttal. To rebuke the argument that hashtag Mikey doesn't finish, which is almost impenetrable. But
it's Mikey great at starting is the other one.
Mikey great at starting. We're focusing on the negative. We need to focus on the positive.
Exactly.
Mikey great at starting.
Exactly. Andrew, I know one of the big blind spots I think we've had so far is that Dune has come out.
Dune has come out.
I've seen it. You haven't seen it yet.
Yes.
And you're going to see it soon. And then we'll talk about that, I think, on Mushroom Club. I think we're going to be...
I think that episode came out already, actually. So...
Oh, right.
Yes. So go to the Mushroom Club, patreon.com/Retrograde podcast, and you'll catch us talking about Dune, and we promise the episode won't be as long as Dune the movie.
It will not be. One thing I'll say about it, the movie felt way longer than it was.
Isn't the movie 2 hours and 30 minutes long though?
Yeah, it felt way longer than that.
Oh boy.
I'm not saying that in a bad way necessarily, but I was surprised in the middle of it. I think it's just because it's such a dense movie. It goes over a lot. And Denis Villeneuve, man, taking a page out of Zack Snyder's book, there is a lot of slow-mo in that movie.
Oh, really?
A lot of slow-mo in that movie. So I think that kind of makes it feel like it's longer than it is.
Is half the movie in slow-mo? Is that why it's so long?
Just about.
Yeah, it would have been a tight 70-minute movie.
Exactly. No, I'm curious to hear what you think. If you have any thoughts over, let us know over on social media, at Retrograde Mikey, at Retrograde Andy, or at Retrograde Pod. I put my feelers out there, and a lot of people had a lot of different things to say about the movie.
Yes.
So it's fairly divisive. But overall, gorgeous. I think. Well,
famously, it's like the unfilmable book, right? And David Lynch tried his best. And, it's funny. That movie is like a lot of people rewatch that movie, obviously, with this coming out. And I think, You know, when bad movies originally come out and they were like, that movie sucks. And then later, 20 years later, you're like, okay,
Wasn't
I
as
can
bad
kind of
as-
see, you know, like it's always versus expectations and
Yep.
things like that. I still think that first movie's not that great, but I'm excited to see what they're going to do with this one.
Yeah. I agree that it is a very difficult to film movie. I didn't realize until I was in the theater and it said Dune Part 1 that this was Part 1 of the whole story.
This is part of the thing that I think is getting a negative reaction is people are like, wait,
So I
what?
wasn't alone in not knowing that.
No, they've intentionally not advertised
I
it.
literally almost went to the person beside me and said, wait, this is only Part 1? Like thinking like,
And they said, please don't talk to my children. Sir, it's a Saturday matinee. I just want to take my 5-year-old to Dune, okay?
actually the people beside me, it was, the trailers, and I don't usually watch trailers, but the trailers were Batman, which is fucking unreal.
you want to talk about that? We haven't talked about that yet.
We will.
Okay.
And then The Matrix 4, which was my first time
Wanna talk
seeing
about
that. Man, that was an amazing trailer as well, I thought. And one other pretty big one, I can't remember. The Spider-Man trailer.
Oh, yeah.
And at one point, the guy beside me was with his friend, and his buddy apparently doesn't know Spider-Man. He's like, why is Spider-Man in like a fucking spacesuit? And I at first I was like, and I looked at it, and then I literally said to him, I was like, I was about to say that was a ridiculous question, and I realized we're talking about a guy who shoots spider webs out of his arms,
Yeah.
so everything is fair.
You really do have to have your head in the sand. I think my mother would know, like, well, yeah, in Avengers. I was like, yeah, thanks, Mom.
It did feel like he was doing it on purpose.
Like a bit?
Yes. Yeah.
Least favorite guy in the world.
I
the
know.
guy doing loud bits during a movie.
What about during the trailers?
Okay.
I do that sometimes.
That's you can't
Do
stop
you like
yourself.
it? Do you like it? Do you like when they do that?
Okay, that friend, that was me. I was doing that. No, my least favorite thing in the world is, and everyone does it, it's a human reaction.
Yeah.
But you watch the trailer and then you see someone go like, I don't know, maybe I won't see that movie. Like everybody loudly gives their judgment on what they thought of the trailer immediately.
Yeah.
It's the strangest thing in the world. Like, oh, okay, I think I'm going to see that.
We're all critics.
Yeah, we are. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I guess it's a natural medium to be a critic of.
Well,
but
why don't you critique the Batman trailer? You want to talk about that for a quick 5 minutes?
fuck yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I thought it was great.
Yes.
I can't wait. I think I've been on the side of Robert Pattinson's going to be great at this.
You were from the very beginning.
And I think he looked great. I think
Yes.
he's a really interesting Bruce Wayne, which to be honest, in a lot of ways, I think doing both is the hardest part.
Yes.
It doesn't do both. And and so often we have great Batman and then we don't have good Bruce Waynes. Or we
Yes.
have good Bruce Waynes and we don't have good Batman. And I think he can do a little bit of both. And
Yeah.
like, I do like that they kind of, like, he could be a very suave, good looking guy that could be Bruce Wayne, but they kind of dummied him up a little bit and I like it.
I like the long hair. I like the glasses to kind of, I saw an article that was like Bruce Wayne's disguise is the best part of Batman, as in like not his disguise when he becomes Batman,
Right.
but Bruce Wayne as this kind of almost like stuck up uber rich guy with
Yeah.
the long hair. And it's like, oh, now I understand how people wouldn't be able to associate.
Totally.
Which is a different take on Bruce Wayne, but I like it. I like that they're
Well, it's
making
the same
that.
argument why people didn't see Robert Pattinson being Batman.
Right.
It's like being acting in the movie.
Yes.
It's the same argument why he would be a good Bruce Wayne because
Exactly.
you're like, well, he'd never be Batman.
Yeah, yeah.
And then he stood up, and I understand like the height disparity of the those whatever the chalk face goons like
Yes.
that they when he stands up and he's couple inches taller than them, you're like, oh, this is. I am
great.
all in on this. Jeffrey Wright is a great idea as
Alfred.
No, Gordon. Andy Serkis is Alfred.
Oh, right.
And which I'm fine with. But I love Jeffrey Wright as Gordon. The only issue I have, the car. The car.
It's very mechanical in a way that
Well, cars are, yes.
but like not high tech in the way that it looks like the Nolan Batman.
The Tumbler one, yeah.
Yeah, this is more of like a Mad Max version.
It looks like a Pontiac GTO.
I don't dislike it, honestly. I don't. We'll see how it actually plays out.
Yeah. It's more of like an Adam West Batman thing of like, also, I got a kick-ass car. Also, you seen this? Ooh, he slaps the hood a couple times.
All I know is I can't remember the last time I was as excited for a movie. And the trailer did
Just
that
a
for me.
movie?
I mean, I know that
Avengers, I
there
guess.
have, Avengers may, honestly, that may be it.
Yeah.
Avengers may have been the last time I was so excited for a movie. And not to say that I'm more excited for this than Avengers, but the last time I've been like, I can't fucking wait for the day that movie comes out.
Yeah.
This is a big one for me.
Yeah, like I do like that the cycle is so tight now at this point where like we're making them every couple of years and yet
Yes.
I'm still excited.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
everyone gets the one Batman film where you're like, oh, that's such a good Batman film. And then you get several others.
Yes.
Like, it's crazy.
I still haven't seen the Ben Affleck Batman movies.
You saw Justice League.
I saw Justice League.
But there was no Ben Affleck Batman movies. There was Batman vs Superman.
Batman vs Superman. Yeah,
and you're good. You can take a pass on
that's
that
the thing is I think I'm good. I don't think I need to go back to that.
Well, if we're doing trailer roundup,
okay,
it's the only time I can talk to you about this.
I never watch trailers.
What are you
I
supposed to do?
have to when I'm in the theater.
Exactly. Walk out of the theater like
I used to plug my ears and eyes. I would plug my eyes.
It's just God. I'd intentionally blind myself. Okay. Wow. You look so weird doing that in the theater. Just like.
Well, no one's looking at me in the theater. They're looking at the great trailer.
Yeah. Until someone leans over and goes like, what do you think about, oh my God, what's wrong with you?
Why are your fingers in your eyes?
Yes. Oh my God. Eyes, just blood pouring out. This is great. This is the only time I get to talk to you about this. You're a big Matrix guy.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
As evidenced by the end of last year. Oh my God, it's October already.
Yeah.
End of last year, we did a series of movie reviews and then played the game version of them.
That was just start our Patreon account.
Yes, which is, oh my God, coming up on a year.
Yeah.
And one of the movies we did was Matrix Revolutions.
Yes. Matrix 2 is what I know
Matrix
it as. Yeah.
So we did Matrix 2, and we had maybe different ideas on how we thought the movie went.
Yeah, I honestly, at this point, I like Matrix 2 better than Matrix 1.
That's insane.
I understand that's insane, and I understand why people would disagree with me, but I think that Matrix 2 is such a head trip that, more so, Matrix 1 has the idea of the Matrix.
Yes.
And it's a little bit more surface level. And everything Matrix 2 also has some bad use of CGI.
It was a different time.
Yeah.
Like if it came out today, you'd be like, whoa, cool. You know, it'd be better probably.
I think it was different. I think if it came out when it did, and it was impressive, the use of CGI, but CGI's become so mainstay that I would have preferred practical effects.
Oh, for sure. It's not even CGI. It like switches to honestly an animated movie.
Yes. Yeah. No. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Which isn't as cool. But what did you think of the Matrix 4 trailer?
Well, so that's why I want to.
As you say this, I'll do the theme song.
The Matrix has a theme song?
No, this is One Pill Makes You Larger. Because that's playing in the background of the trailer.
So okay, that's what's so funny too. I've been trying to honestly get in my own head about allowing other people to have opinions about movies and TV and art and things like that that I disagree with and be like, oh, that's interesting and do things. And you immediately are like, two's better than one. I'm like, that's insane. Like all that work got blown right out the window immediately. I'm trying to if people are allowed to have takes that I don't agree with. Yeah. That's totally fine. We all see things differently. And I immediately
they have to be allowed to have different opinions than you because someone has to be correct. You know what I mean?
Oh, for fuck's sake. Number 2, the Stone Cold Classic, Matrix. So the number 4 I thought is really interesting. And then when Jonathan Groff at the end goes, oh, the Matrix, I'm like, yay, he said it. Yep. I thought it was great. And I think it's fun with the therapy idea with Jonathan Groff, All in Black, and Neil Patrick Harris, and maybe as opposing kind of voices and stuff like that. I thought the whole thing was really cool. I thought it was going to look weird with Keanu playing Neo again and stuff like that. And I'm like, nope, looks great. Awesome.
Because he looks like he hasn't aged but has grown hair. Like whatever he's taking, give me that.
100%. I think it's just a good mental state. Like, I think it's just like,
well, then I'm fucked.
I think he's just got a good view on life. Yeah. And he seems like he's not too I don't know. Like you always hear great stories and it's clearly not coming from him.
Yeah.
But it's like the crew always walks away like, yeah, he gave everyone $1 million. Yeah. And you're like, what? How is this possible?
It's amazing. I love that. I honestly still, though, even after the trailer, and I don't think this is a bad thing, I don't really know what the plot is.
I agree with you.
And that's awesome to me. I don't know how he's going to incorporate. There's a thing with memory loss.
Yeah.
Did they choose to create their own Matrix where they purposely get rid of their memories so they can live a peaceful life? It could be that. There's this imagery of blue pills everywhere. So it's like they're willfully taking them continually as antidepressants, essentially. Yeah. Like, man, there's a lot they could do with this, and I'm here for it.
I like the idea that they didn't say anything because people are going to see this movie if they're going to see this movie. Like Matrix 4, you're like, what's it about? Doesn't matter. I'm going to see it. I'm glad that's part of it, but I also couldn't imagine whatever insane story this is going to be. Imagine doing that 2.5 minutes. Like, so you know what it's about? Big Pharma is poisoning us. You're like, all right.
True.
So I'm so excited for that. And I guess that will also be a Mushroom Club for sure.
It has to be. When does that come out? Do you know?
Off the top of my head, no, I don't know.
Okay. Thanks, Andrew.
No problem. Thanks for checking in. Our movie correspondent, Andrew, when does it come out? No idea. Thanks very much. All right, sounds good.
It's raining. Wrong job. Okay, cool.
Exactly. Astro's Lost, yeah. And then the last one, Spider-Man, which is something we wanted to talk about weeks ago, but Mikey's very respectable policy on not watching trailers, which I respect and don't think is crazy at all.
Thank you very much. If I want to see the movie, I don't watch the trailer. I don't want to ruin anything.
But isn't it okay? So we'll talk about the trailer in a second. But isn't that weird then that you've made a decision based on title and actors? I guess like isn't the idea of a trailer to entice you to see something that maybe you wouldn't have seen previously?
Well, a trailer can entice you to see something terrible. Because if they, oh my God, Andrew, I can't believe I didn't think about this. You tweeted something out about a trailer, and the caption was, "Watch this not knowing the title."
Oh yes,
and I don't know. Can we say what it? I don't know, but like,
we'll retweet it again when this episode comes out.
Retweet it again. Go to Andrew's Twitter and find this. I watched the trailer, and when the title screen came, I laughed in a way that I don't know that I've laughed since I was like alone in my room since I was like 12 years old.
I laughed so hard I did one of those because I was laughing so hard at it.
Oh man, it was great. I don't want to say anything. Honestly, even saying that it's a joke, that it's funny may be ruining it, but man,
God, I laughed so hard at it. It is, if that's a real movie, if this whole thing's a real movie, okay, I take everything back. I'm so sorry. But it feels like the best Tim Robinson sketch, like the most money they could have put something. A 3-minute trailer with big actors doing big stuff and then slow reveal of a title and you just lose your marbles. It's so funny.
Because the whole time I was thinking when it's like, don't know the title of this while you're watching the trailer, I was thinking it was going to be a property I knew about. So I'm like, what title? Like what franchise is this? And then it fucking hell, man. It was so good.
So we'll retweet that out again when you're hearing this. But yes, last trailer news, and then we'll get into to Boogerman here. But Spider-Man. Boogerman.
Spiderman.
Yep.
It looked great. I mean, here's the thing is it had some jokes, it had some interactions, and it had some moments that I would have preferred to have watched organically.
Okay.
It'd be tough to avoid. Like, I knew Doc Ock was in it because good luck going to Twitter and not seeing a picture of him from the movie. Like, of course he's there. But that's kind of my point, where if I know I'm going to see it, and like, here's the thing. You can say, like, well, you're going to see some movies based on title and actor and all that. Some of them, I know I'm going to watch Spider-Man. You know you're going to watch Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah.
But then some movies, I don't know that I'm going to watch, and I will watch the trailer of that, like One Night in Soho, before I realized that
you're right,
that it was Edgar Wright.
Yeah.
I watched it, I was like, this looks fucking great.
Yeah. I'm so excited for that movie too. No, I understand the policy, especially because that policy has never been better in a monocultural world right now where like everything's IP. So like when you're like, hey, they're making another Matrix movie, you're like, good, I'm gonna see it. Thanks, good, I'm done. But if the original Matrix came out, you'd be like, I'm gonna see the Matrix. What's that? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So I understand. There's pros and cons, right?
Yeah,
but when Doc Ock at the end goes, hello, Peter, you're like, oh, this is gonna be cool.
That's a great feeling.
This is really
fun.
That's
a great feeling. I love that.
This 70-year-old Alfred Molina strapping on those the Ock arms.
And I also love that Doctor Strange seems like he's going to be the Iron Man father, Tony Stark father figure to Spider-Man that Tony Stark was, and that interplay will be very fun.
The only thing I don't, and so this is I'm not breaking new ground here, but like the Doctor Strange in that trailer does not seem like our Doctor Strange.
No, it doesn't.
He makes a big mistake. You're like, he's never cavalier like this.
Yes.
You know what I mean? He's very serious about stuff.
Yeah.
And so that's the part where I'm like, something about this doesn't make any sense. Also,
like him wearing sweatpants and the cape, and I was like, what is happening here? It just doesn't. It seems odd, but I'm sure they've written it better than I could have written it. So
I'm sure there's
what am I expecting there?
That will be shocking. Yeah. It'll be Mephisto again or something that I'll claim to be. I'm so excited for that. I'm glad you watched those. And so check our Dune trailer over at patreon.com/Retrograde podcast.
Well, I couldn't have picked a better trailer to watch, and I would like to flick our attention over to Boogerman, this week's game. Boogerman, as I mentioned, a game from 1994 on the Genesis or 1995 on the SNES, made by Interplay. Do you know Interplay as a company?
Yeah, I can't name another game.
It's funny because I barely recognized the name, and so I read into them. And they've developed and produced a ton of games: Alone in the Dark, Another World, Baldur's Gate, Carmageddon, Clay Fighter, Earthworm Jim, and the original Fallout series. Jim.
Okay, so it's a similar animation style, right?
Yes.
Like based on my memories. Yes, okay.
So much so where Clay Fighter, which is another game that came out using some of the properties that Interplay had been involved with, it's like a fighting game, and they have Earthworm Jim is in it, and Boogerman's in it.
Whoa.
It's also Clay Fighter, not to make it about Clay Fighter, but a great name for a game. Clay Fighter 63 1/3. Because every game coming out in the era was like Mario 64, Wave Racer 64, and this is Clay Fighter 63 and a third.
That's hilarious.
At first, I was like a little bit of
Naked Gun.
Naked Gun.
Yep, 100%. That's what I think of. Yeah,
which is great. I like that.
Oh, that's great. So it's the Clay Fighter extended universe.
Yeah, the CFEU.
CFEU. Yes, of course. Legendary.
How could you?
Right?
How could you forget?
Legendary.
It's absolutely legendary.
We played Earthworm Jim on this podcast.
We did.
Which is this podcast has been going for 3 years now. More and more, we're going to be like, we played this on the podcast.
We played every game on this podcast.
We're getting closer and closer to doing a couple again.
Yes.
And
we've already done some again.
We
Mortal
have.
Kombat, for example.
Yeah, we've revisited some in the last 3 years because we've gotten smarter and better at this.
Yes.
Smarter. But is that I remember really liking Earthworm Jim.
Yeah, it's not necessarily surprising, but the gameplay and how much I enjoyed it wasn't surprising, but the overall look and feel of it.
Yes.
From a game back when it came out was very impressive. The animation style. So I have faith, especially as like a Genesis game, their animations and color palettes were really good on the Genesis. So I'm expecting similar quality here. It's just, do you want a very vibrantly animated booger flick? I don't know if that's going to be good or bad. But here's the thing that pisses me off about this game.
Oh, all right, Mikey. You're on blast here. Watch out.
I got something to say.
Sound the alarms.
It always tickles my lip when I do that. Does that happen?
Yeah. But the mustache doesn't?
No. That's the upper lip. This is the lower lip. Okay. So combined, really itchy lips. No, listen.
Old itchy lip.
This game is called Boogerman.
Yeah. Yeah, we've established that.
No one pays attention to the fact that there are so many other things that you can do.
Pile of shit, dude.
You can fart.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Wait, in this game?
Yeah.
Oh.
And you can burp.
Oh.
And so why are we talking about that?
Oh, God. Usually those things come in threes. That's why I was so like, okay, and I'm going to be patient.
Nope, that's about it. That's about it.
You could fart and burp as Boogerman. This game, you're on blast this game.
So here's, okay, how about this? How about this? Let's give some context because you didn't play this game back in the day.
No.
Right? Do you know much about it? Probably not if you haven't played
but
it.
I've seen that, like the cover, like, you know, I grew up in this era of like playing Sega Genesis games and going to Blockbuster or whatever.
So you would have seen it.
Seen it, yeah, but I never played it because as a child, I also had standards.
Well, listen, those standards avoided you getting a controller skin that came with the game, which was a booger-looking controller skin that you would stick over your Genesis controller. Yeah. And it would be like you're playing with a pile of boogers.
Oh, that's awesome. Great. I probably got close to purchasing it. They're like, do you want this? I'm like, no, I'm returning it. Thank you very much. Just an 8-year-old being furious.
The shitty thing about it is we tried to apply it to the skin. There were a lot of buttons in a lot of weird places on the Genesis controller, very oblong shape. And we tried to apply it the first time. We missed the angle of it. And whatever they used as the adhesive was not going anywhere anytime soon. So we couldn't peel it off fully.
No.
So we had this like misplaced splotches of booger sticker all over our Genesis controller for the rest of our lives.
That's awesome.
It was disappointing.
I like the idea that like, even if you make a shitty game, you're like, we should give them something and they'll never be able to forget that. Like it'll be like a fucking tattoo on their heart. Like just like, oh, right. Remember this shitty game?
Well, it feels like it was, like Sega was trying to do things, not this is a Sega first party game, but they were trying to do things like, hey, let's have a mascot like Sonic, who's like Mario, but a bit more badass. He'll tap his foot. He's waiting for you. He's waiting on you. And then Boogerman's like, let's have a mascot, but like a little bit gross.
Yeah. What if it was disgusting?
What if no one wanted to play it?
Yeah. What if Mario didn't have pants?
Andrew.
Oh, hey.
Someone's been reading my fanfic, huh?
A topless, just overalled Mario.
Yeah.
Yeah. Coming to fix your pipes. Wink.
Oh.
Hey, yo.
Ooh, Andrew.
Come on.
Let's pause.
Is he not a plumber canonically? Someone was saying this the other day.
Who, Mario?
Yeah. Where in canon, it's actually never says he's a plumber.
Oh, that could be true.
Yeah.
Like in the games.
Yeah. And then we just assume it because the pipes in the, I don't know, general.
In the overalls?
Workman aesthetic. Yeah.
I can't imagine that like the original Mario would have been like, this plumber went to go save a princess. Like I feel like it would have just been implied. I mean, in Donkey Kong, I can't imagine he was a construction worker, not a plumber, right?
Right.
So here's the thing. Main character in Boogerman, you can tell based on the way he looks that he's from either Brooklyn or New Jersey. And I don't know how to quantify that. That's all I can say. He's got this chin with a 5 o'clock shadow and a general aesthetic that says, hey, I'm walking here. And like, I don't know how else to explain it, but you'll see him and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
You know his favorite part of October was?
What?
Gabagools.
Gabagool.
You're welcome, everybody.
I like that. So
Thank you for liking it.
I was trying to think of my own one, and nothing's coming to me.
Okay.
Give me some time.
Okay. Okay, we'll wait here for you.
The moth.
So wait, it has a face? Okay, wait, maybe I didn't remember this as much as
No,
I thought.
Boogerman is a guy. He's a guy. He's a guy from Brooklyn or New Jersey who picks and flicks.
It's from the tri-state area,
So
yeah.
here's the story. I understand why you're confused. So let me tell you the story.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, and this will clarify everything. I'm sure there will be no more questions after the story. It's
Just
pretty,
like, what is my favorite liquid of the body? Yeah.
Yeah. No, exactly.
No more follows.
Very straightforward. Asked and answered. You'll get the full understanding,
Please
the full
do.
gamut
Please.
of what this game is about. So Professor Stinkbomb
Oh, for fuck's sake.
is working in a lab. It's near a dump. It's his lab. Listen, property in New Jersey and Brooklyn.
Yeah.
and- or
Ironically,
Brooklyn.
New Jersey, the Garden State, is mostly wasteland.
So it may be New Jersey then.
Okay.
The dump is called Takey.
Takey?
Yeah.
What did you say? You said it quietly. Sorry.
Takey.
Takey.
Yeah. So it would
How do you spell that?
Takey.
Takey. Okay.
So what's it called?
Takey?
Yeah, but
It's a Takey wasteland?
no, it's a Takey dump.
Oh, for fuck's Mikey.
No, I'm just telling you what this is what it's
a
called.
Takey dump?
His lab is near Takey dump.
Oh my God.
And he's trying to make a machine that could teleport waste to a new dimension.
Okay.
And dimensions we don't name them. They
Okay.
just come with their own names.
Yeah, yeah, of
So
course.
it's understandable that this one would be called X,
Yeah.
Crement.
The dimension is called excrement. The dimension is called excrement.
X dash Crement.
Crement.
Yeah.
Crement?
Let's hope so. And he's using a machine. I mean, I
Yeah.
think you get the
Overall
formula
vibe here, yeah.
The machine that zaps the waste so that we don't have to deal with it here on Earth. Just trash to the planet excrement.
Is a porta potty. Is a what is it? Ray? Does Ray show up in there somewhere?
No, it's the Zap-O-Matic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, real wasted opportunity.
I
there.
go, whoa, you're like, yeah. Once again, rule of threes. They're like 1, 2, and no, you don't get anything else.
So it feels like they were really stretching to make names work. Like, why does the lab have to be near Takey Dump? And yet they're like, okay, we have a pivotal machine. What do we call it? Zap-O-Matic? I don't know. I'm on break. I'm walking here. What are you talking about? So a guy named Snotty Ragsdale visits the lab. What's that?
Snotty Ragsdale?
Yeah, Snotty Ragsdale.
Jesus Christ.
You never met a Snotty Ragsdale in your
No,
life?
I've never met anyone named Snotty or Ragsdale.
Oh, I have some friends to introduce you to. It's going to be a great party. So he goes to the lab and accidentally activates the machine. And at the same time, he inhales pepper. Obviously, that's what happens. I keep pepper near all my machines.
Oh, of course.
And he sneezed so hard that the machine, which opened up the portal to the Zap-O-Matic, which opened up the portal to excrement,
Right.
broke.
Okay.
And it opened up a new portal. An arm came through it and stole the power source of the machine, which the power source, pretty generic name, Snotrium 357. And Snotty, Snotty Ragsdale, goes and changes into his alter ego, Boogerman.
So wait a second.
Huh?
So wait a second.
Yeah.
This guy just has an alter ego. It wasn't like an experiment that like went wrong or something like that. He just is like,
I told you he's from New Jersey, right?
so they go all the way up there with all this stuff. Takey dump, excrement, all this kind of stuff. They're like, yeah. And they're like, also this guy's just Boogerman on the side.
Oh, this arm looks like it stole one of my Snortium 357s. Better change into Boogerman.
That's crazy.
Yes. And so he jumps through the portal to go get it back.
I thought the Ray was going to turn him into Boogerman or something like that because of all the waste he's been sending.
That makes no sense, Andrew.
Oh, for fuck's
What do you? How would
gotta
that
be kidding?
No, the Ray would just send him to the dimension Excrement.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like what? We're not living in a fantasy world.
Okay,
here.
here's another thing. So if I put my hand through a portal to grab the battery, but the second that I grab the battery,
the Snodium 357.
yeah, it's not 357, and I grab the battery, wouldn't my arm just be lopped off because the portal would close?
Well, it didn't close though.
But without a power source, how is it existing? Mikey, Mikey, I'm finding a few flaws in the story of Boogerman.
Yeah, I think there are only two holes in this game, and they're the only two that matter, and those are the two nostril holes. And if you try to poke anything more into that, then who knows what's going to happen?
Who knows?
Do it at your own peril. But it's a shitty point, Andrew.
Oh, for fuck's sakes.
The game received an overall game ranking score, like Metacritic score, of 73%.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
not terrible,
No,
but
not
I
terrible.
can imagine that reviewers would have, if this game were Earthworm Jim with
Yeah.
the booger aesthetic, I can imagine it would have been rated the same because people are like, I don't want to give credence to a game like Boogerman.
Yeah.
I actually really liked it as a kid.
Okay.
And I don't know if
Okay.
it was because of the picking and flicking and farting and burping.
Yeah.
Which was chef's kiss. Great.
Perfect.
The booger physics were astounding.
Do you think they're gonna be heavy-handed? They're not. They just
not.
nail it.
It's
They're just
very subtle. It's a
perfect.
very subtle game. It's a very subtle game. So we're gonna go throw some boogers at enemies in Snotrium 357.
Yeah.
Travel to the planet Excrement, right next to the lab, which takes place in near Takey Dump.
Yeah, thanks.
And
Thanks for the reminder.
and hopefully Professor Stinkbomb doesn't mind us hanging out in his lab for a little while before we do it.
Okay, so Dr. Stinkbomb is our
Professor
friend.
Stinkbomb.
Professor Stinkbomb.
We don't know if he has a doctorate. He might just call himself Professor
I don't-
Stinkbomb.
Professor Stinkbomb is our friend.
I don't know how much he plays into it.
Okay.
I think it's just his lab.
Okay.
And you as Snotty Ragsdale just show up to his lab, sneeze and pepper at all his machines.
Sometimes I feel like this is like a long gag that on me because like we do Retrograde. I hate that. And the one coming back, Boogerman. This is it might be good. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think it's gonna be good?
I think it's going to be more enjoyable in terms of gameplay than we expect, but the jokes are all going to fall flat. Like
Yeah.
if it's so on its face already, it's like, I want to say on the nose, but it's in the nose, truly. I don't know how much the jokes are going to land apart from that.
Yeah, and if it's like a huge part of the story too, like every once in a while they cut to him to go like, "Hey, one-liner." You're like, this is gonna be. I don't know. I'm interested. We liked Earthworm Jim, so this, if it's anything like that, I think
Yeah.
this would give me interesting.
So let's see it, guys. If you're not watching on YouTube, if you're listening on the podcast, you can join us on YouTube and go check out the gameplay and the full episode. We
Yeah.
record them all and post them all over at the Retrograde Podcast on YouTube. So just search us up or look in the description of this podcast. It's the links there right now. So we'll see you guys on the other side after we play some Boogerman.
Yay! You said a pick and flick adventure. That's what it's called.
Andrew, I need you before we start recording.
Yeah.
I got to get you on board with this because that's a good joke.
A pick
Why
and
are
flick
you laughing?
adventure. What part of that? How is it
Can
a
you
joke?
take this seriously?
I am taking
Andrew,
it seriously.
No, it's just
I'm taking it more seriously than the game is.
Andrew, this game is a work of art. You're taking it more seriously than art.
Explain pick and flick adventure to me.
When you have boogers.
Okay, yeah, no, I know that part.
Okay, well, it doesn't sound like you do because you're not taking this seriously.
So it's not even, is it a pun on something?
How am I supposed to know when you're joking if you're calling that bad?
Why am I joking? What happened? I'm just asking someone to explain that
If
to
you're
me.
not joking, then this is actually insulting.
To
To me and to everyone involved in to Snotty Ragsdale,
to interplay.
to Interplay.
Yeah. To their neighbors that take you down.
Are you going to behave yourself?
This is rich coming from you.
From me.
Yeah.
I appreciate good art. I don't know what you're doing. All right, so he's farting his way. And he throws a booger at the screen. Boogerman, a pick and flick adventure.
He comes out of a toilet.
You're not skipping any opportunity. Except Zap-O-Matic. That's the only
That's
opportunity they've
yeah.
skipped.
It's like, hey, I really need to get on board with what's going on here. So this is the guy from Jersey, you think? He also looks like, remember that cereal with the dog and he was like a criminal, like he was in Stripes and he would steal.
Cookie
like,
Crisp.
Cookie Crisp.
Yeah.
He looks like a guy.
Yeah. He was also from Brooklyn.
Well, maybe they're brothers. Emerging from a toilet. Here we go.
So we're going to start.
We're getting,
Licensed by Sega.
thank God for that.
It's a dark and stormy night at Professor Stinkbomb's lab, where a machine has been built to save the world from pollution by existing it. What?
What?
To dimension excrement. Eccentric millionaire Snotty Ragsdale. So it's Batman, basically. Also, eccentric millionaire. Not enough these days.
No, I know. Oh, ew, I can't.
You like it.
That was
Do
disgusting.
you like it?
This guy should go see a doctor.
Why? He's got a superpower. You're like, hey, Spider-Man, you should see a doctor about all those webs that you're slinging.
Honestly, though, probably.
Probably. Someone should have. It turns out. All right, here we go.
Okay, here we go. The tree has a face. I don't like that. The eyeball is a plant. I don't like that.
Oh, look, okay, so there's 2 meters. There's a meter at the top, left and right. One is your burp meter and one is your booger meter. One's represented by burp gas, and one's represented by a snot out of a nose.
Yeah. Oh, that's a nose, right? Yeah. Oh, here he goes. He's one.
Oh, he eats it. That is so nasty.
God. I hate this.
Why? Like, here's the thing: is it just happenstance that Boogerman goes into a dimension where everything's made of boogers, or is he creating this?
Yeah, like you're picking up plungers every year, picking up boogers. Like I, you know, in my normal day life, I don't just like, you know, see that hanging out. But this also.
Oh, I just farted and a rock exploded. That's actually really cool.
So your fart, you can build up like a bomb.
Uh-huh. Well, I can do that in my regular life.
A butt bomb, if you will.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. You know what's inexplicable, though? The enemies, or the trees having faces, or the plants having eyes, or these little goblin type things, which, by the way, have not attacked you yet. They just have been walking around.
Nothing's come close to attacking me.
When the goblin walks by next time, he looks so happy. Just like, I'm going to work today.
I hope no one flings a booger at me.
Like he does. They look so calm about everything. And that eyeball I don't like. But, ooh, these things not so much. So you burnt fire, right?
Only when because I have a pickup. I picked up a pepper.
You picked up a pepper. You picked a pepper.
Boogerman picks a pickled pepper.
So that's a nose. Do you go in the nose?
Oh, you can go up the nose and out the other side.
That's great. So those things don't hurt you? Those little guys in the bush?
Like there's weird because I don't know what's supposed to hurt me and what isn't. Like there's these little proud gremlins.
Look at them. Look at them.
Hello. Welcome to the bugger world. Oh, when they
salute each other.
They salute each other and he fell. They're not even trying to attack me. What is happening?
Well,
have I been killing them for no reason?
Oh, no. They spike you. Okay, all right. I'm surprised there's no more penis humor.
Andrew, that's vile.
Genitalia is disgusting.
Yeah, especially Boogerman's. You should see it.
It's weird. It's a weird dick.
It's a weird one.
You
and I don't usually
it.
say that, but I think this one is.
No, 100%.
It's crazy to me how easy that first level was. Like compared to how hard Earthworm Jim was.
Earthworm Jim was famously very
difficult.
Okay, so if you get more of those, you build yourself up a ladder.
The plungers at the end, you build a ladder that'll get you to special areas.
I like that.
Oh, you can jump on them. Well, they really give you a lot of tools to just wreak havoc. You are more powerful than Batman, probably.
You are like, what the hell is that? Okay, no way to find out.
Booger. Whoa! A little ogre swings a hammer at you.
What happened?
Did you jump down? I think you did. We're still in the flatulent swamps.
Oh,
Andrew fell off a bridge.
How did I fall off a bridge?
Anyway, remember how I was saying how easy this game was?
How did I fall off a bridge?
You got to tell me that, Andrew, because I'm still confused.
I was behind a tree.
Yes.
And that's the last thing I remember. That's it.
Being behind trees, notoriously, that's where you're always going to fall off bridges, is behind trees.
Yeah, I don't, like, so like right here, if I went down.
You could, Andrew, standing behind a tree.
Do you want to try it?
Yeah, try it. Yeah, so maybe you just fucked up.
How did I do that?
I think maybe because it was a bridge, if you press down and jump.
Oh.
It'll like
I'm almost impressed by myself, to be honest.
That you did that?
Yeah.
I'm impressed, too. You figured out a way to die in a game that has not threatened us at all. Oh, are those beans?
Those are beans.
That's cool. Whoa.
Okay.
There's these big ogre things sometimes. Oh, you belched a big one.
Man, am I great at this game?
I think it's hard not to be, honestly.
Okay, well, it's okay.
There's lots of exploration vertically that you can do up the trees. Some of the trees are inexplicably covered in slime. Who is making these boogers?
Well, like this, once again, Mikey brought it up earlier, but like, was this the perfect planet he could have gone to?
Yeah. Or did he make it? Okay, so here, once again, you're on the bridge that you, this time, successfully navigated.
Yeah, I'm really proud of myself for that. I've learned my lesson.
So, Andrew, how much are you enjoying the booger humor so far?
I'm just choosing to treat it like it's not booger humor, and I'm fine with it. You know what I mean? Like, if I just don't think it is booger humor.
It's just green slime, and he's just spitting things. That's it.
Spitting things.
That's usually a safe bet.
What do you think?
Can I go down? I think you can go down. But if you die, it's your fault, not mine. That counts as one of your deaths, not mine. There you go. Wow, the enemies are so easy in this game.
I thought I was going to have to build up and get in trouble there.
We're just standing in front of like what looks to be a very intimidating enemy, and he gave us no challenge whatsoever.
Them saluting each other is very cute. I like that.
That's great. Yeah, when enemies walk into each other, they salute each other, and it's we should do that more.
We should.
Me, Andrew.
Yeah.
You want to give it one right now?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, nice militaristic society we live in.
Almost died, but thankfully this game is very easy.
Shut up. Somehow feels personal.
Yeah, it was meant that way.
Oh, well.
You took it in the spirits in which it was spirit in which
mission accomplished, good sir.
And we salute.
Go down in that and see if you can go up. Like, so, some toilets
No, I
have-
think that's the second one. So there's toilets that you can jump in.
Some have down and some have up.
Yeah, and I think the down means that it's going to put you in one of the up ones.
Okay.
You can take some downers, you can take some uppers.
It's confusing.
One pill makes you larger. One pill.
Red, blue.
Yeah. The enemies
Yeah.
make it so easy to kill them because they do an animation when they see you before they're about to hit you, and it gives you time to just pick and flick as much as you want.
Yeah, well, it is a pick and flick adventure, Mikey.
It is a pick and flick adventure.
I would say the only difficulty is just traversing, like, to know where to go.
Yeah, sometimes it makes you go down or up. I never feel lost. I think it just feels kind of...
Well, there's a little sign there that's pointing, yeah, I guess.
Well, because you
like,
always go right? But
Yes.
sometimes it's just like... You know what it kind of reminds me of is Cool Spot?
Right.
Where it was like there's
Yeah.
always a way you're supposed to go, so I beat it. Let's see how many plungers I got. Oh, and if you step on those little pads, I don't know what they are, it also gives you a little bit of a bonus.
That's great.
And I'm not sure what they are. Here you
Awesome.
go.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
Take Flatulence Swamps level 3. So far, what do you think of the gameplay?
Actually, totally fine.
I think it's fine to the point of being a detriment. It's so straightforward.
Yeah,
Earthworm Jim, even though it was harder and we were getting a little bit more frustrated, it was way more fun.
That's a ghost?
There's a ghost. We're out of Retrograde.
Enough of this. A ghost. Oh, so he just goes in a straight line. He's a happy ghost.
So far, we don't even need to use like the power-ups of a super hard burp. I know it'll change as time goes on.
Yeah.
Another thing is I always find it hard to remember how far in these games I made it as a kid.
Yeah. Well, like, do you remember this level?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Maybe, but they all look fairly similar.
Yeah. I do like that we are indiscriminately just killing as we see fit. Like,
Yeah,
we're
and
just...
nothing is really like... This is like walking through the forest and just shooting every squirrel you see.
I was just going to say, just kicking every squirrel you find.
Ooh.
All right.
Press the right bumper.
Right bumper.
He poses and says booger.
Oh. You know what? It's funny because up until that point, they really haven't hit it home.
Yeah, I didn't know if he was proud of what he was doing or a little bit ashamed. Now we know. He's definitely proud. Wow, we made it through another level. Holy
Jesus
shit.
Christ, that was fast.
The belching sounds. We haven't even really had to use burping and farting.
No, we really haven't. The boogers has been fine enough, you know?
So you're enjoying it?
Yes and no.
I gotta be honest, I'm not disliking it.
Yeah.
But I don't know what there is to enjoy about this. It's so straightforward.
I'm not gonna lie, there are certain episodes that we do where halfway through the gameplay, I'm writing the review in my head.
I have been writing it. I always am because I'm always on because I am a reviewer.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
I understand how someone who's less experienced may not be that way, so I forgive you for it.
I would have loved to be in the writer's room for this game. For parts of it, other parts I don't think we would have seen eye to eye on a lot of stuff. But they're like, hey guys, we're gonna go to the excrement dimension. Okay, cool, sounds good. And I would have rolled my eyes really hard. And then they would, what villains, what kind of opponents do you think are in dimension excrement? And they're like, frogs. Frogs are good. What about like goblins? Oh, I like goblins, like ogre type things. Yeah. What about bats? Sure. Ghosts? Yeah, why not? Little chili peppers that come to life. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no, we need the chili peppers.
The answer is there was no bad ideas, but this has come to life, no bad ideas. Like,
yes,
you could do whatever you want.
I don't know that. I think everything works because they probably said yes to everything. And it's like, well, then therefore nothing seems out of place.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to fart on the outhouse. That seems logical, but nope.
No, you see, there was no bad ideas except for that one.
Except
that was a
for
bad
farting on the
idea.
outhouse.
That was a terrible idea. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Imagine you couldn't kill the ghost with boogers.
That would be hilarious. That is just like, they're always coming for
And
you.
then there's a cutscene where it explains why, like
Yeah.
in very deep lore, why ghosts are unaffected by boogers.
Snotty Ragsdale lost his mother at a young age. You're like, oh my God.
This game is so generic.
Like, I understand with the general tone and humor in quotation marks, this was built for children. I get that.
Yeah.
But man, that gameplay sells it that it was built for children.
Yeah, because that's a good point. Because this is way easier than any other game of this era that we've done. Honestly,
Yes.
I think this is the easiest game from this era that we've done. And I know
McDonald's was harder.
McDonald's was absolutely harder. McDonald's was potentially better. We'll see.
We'll see. But you know what? A good comparison though. You know, side-scrolling,
Yep.
animation style, the whole thing.
But it is funny. It's clear that the reason why the writer's room probably was the way it was and why everything passed is because they're like, it's ultimately for kids. What's going to make a kid laugh?
Yes.
And the answer is everything.
The answer is yes, everything. No bad ideas. Blue sky thinking.
One thing that I do find kind of cool is like you can go left and right in this game. Like, again, similar to Cool Spot, where it kind of makes, a lot of games are just go left and right. This one, it makes a maze of the level using up and down.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of both. Oh, is it running out of boogers that kills me, maybe?
Oh.
Uh-oh, so I'm close to dying.
You better start farting and
Better start burping
on.
on these guys. Excuse me. I got beans. The beans give you more gas, obviously.
Yeah, that one wrote itself. I just imagine sitting in that writer's room again, and people are like, so you can, like, the whole idea of the concept of the game, people are just folding over themselves laughing.
I died.
You did, and it's game over. Well, interesting.
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, I think I'm pretty good. I think
I don't know what else we would have to say.
That's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Wow. Do you see what I mean about art, though?
I've seen the face of God today.
And it had a very runny nose.
Repulsive.
All right, we'll see you guys on the other side.
See ya.
It's your turn.
It's my turn.
Andrew, line? For you?
Your line?
I think this is when you say, and Mikey's the best host of Retrograde. I think that's what
I say?
I'm pretty sure that's when you say that.
I say that?
Yeah.
Like, I've been doing that for...
You've been doing it every day.
250 episodes? I've just been like...
No, not just in the episodes.
Oh, just like in life?
Yeah, you call me up.
Yeah, and I go...
Mikey's the best host of the Retrograde.
See, that's so weird. I don't remember that at all.
You can't, like, hear your own voice?
No,
when
like,
I say that?
yeah, that's the part that I'm like, oh, I've done it so many times.
Well, try it. See if it works.
And Mikey... Wait, what is it?
So it's, and Mikey is the best host of the Retrograde.
And Mikey's a host of the Retrograde.
No, you missed a real important word there.
I think I got everything factual.
I mean, that is also factual, but there's a key
deny.
qualifier that's being left out.
Yeah.
And
Mikey's the best host of the Jackass.
But that's true too. Okay, so we're sticking with facts, but we'll see. Let's do it live. We'll do it live. It'll come to you because it'll just be instinctive.
Okay. All right, you feel good now. And welcome back to the Retrograde.
Hey, well, you didn't go in the way I thought you were. We had a whole conversation off mic, and I thought you were going to say something different, but you didn't, and that's fine. I think we'll just move on as is.
All right, sorry, I forgot my line, I guess. I was too distracted by the excellence of Boogerman.
Yeah, that's true.
A pick and flick adventure.
You forgot your line like an ADD person from Toronto coming back from the bathroom. Because you forgot his line of cocaine.
Oh, okay, good. ADHD?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because he's just focused on so many different things.
Yes.
It's like, what am I in here for?
Memory goldfish.
I know I gotta pee.
Yes.
That's primo uno, numero uno.
And I feel fantastic. I'm no longer drunk at all.
At all. This feels healthy.
But don't give me the vaccine because I don't know what's in it.
Wait, that vaccine, is it laced with fentanyl?
Yeah.
No?
No.
Then I don't want it.
No, thank you.
Is coke like as big a thing in other cities?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it turns out cocaine's very popular.
Like I know there are other cities where it is as big, but I know Toronto it's
Yeah. I think it's just urban centers. You know, if you it's a very, very popular club drug, I think they call it.
Yeah.
We like to have fun.
We like to have yeah. Do you party? People always
party?
When I first started going out downtown Toronto, everyone was like, "Yo, so do you like to party?" I was like, "Yeah, like I go out like most nights of the week." And they what that means in Toronto, do you like to party is do you do coke?
Yeah.
So they'd be like, "Oh, do you want to go party?" I'm like where? Like I'm good.
Yeah.
We'd be at the bar.
Do you like this place or you want to go to another place?
You want to go to another party?
Well, your apartment. Well, that's not the party. Just go in, huge glass table. Yeah, I know. It's wow, we just went right into cocaine after Boogerman. I think Boogerman's just brought us down to a new low.
Well, listen, we're talking noses.
No. Hey,
everyone knows. Andrew, you were very scared to get into this game.
Yes.
You were petrified.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, it's
no, you were shaking in your little boots. I remember like when
I do wear little boots.
You do wear little boots on your fingers.
Yes, all my little boots.
What did you think? Was it as gross as you expected it to be?
No. It wasn't as gross. It could not have been more. It hit you over the head with it. Like it is. If Zap-O-Matic is the only miss of an opportunity they had to go like, we are talking about toilets. Like
Yes.
literally everything came up and they did it over top. But it was such in a cartoon style that eventually you're like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Like I think the one-off is more painful than you're just like in the world. You're like, okay, fine, whatever. You know,
That honestly makes sense. If this were just if this were Earthworm Jim, and at one point Earthworm Jim came out of a nose covered in boogers,
Yes.
that would gross me out more than anything
No.
in this game. But it hits you over the head, like you said, so much that not only does it not become gross, but the comedy is completely lost as well.
Yeah.
Like how many times can you do the same the high art is lost on you after the second time you burp an enemy to death.
yeah.
Like
I'm going to go to
what
an
do you
art
want?
gallery and hang it on a wall. You go, Boogerman, everybody. A pick and flick adventure.
Here's the thing. If Yoko Ono did that, if Yoko Ono took this game, the cover art for this game, and pinned it to the top of a ceiling, and you had to take a ladder and look at it with a magnifying glass,
yes.
everyone would have loved it.
Yeah, probably.
So what does that say about art?
I think it's in the eye of the beholder.
Now, what about the saying, beauty is in the eye of the beer holder? Is that art? What if Yoko Ono says it?
If Yoko Ono walks in,
Yoko Oko.
I don't know. Yoko Ono walks in wearing a female body inspector shirt.
Yes.
Is everyone like, that's a bold stance against modern fashion? You know what?
Honestly, yes.
Yes. She is, here's the difference. I'm mad at her because, first of all, the Beatles. Second of all, I'm not seen the same way. She's earned artistic respect. So people go like, oh, where's it? I walk in and people are like, what an asshole.
What an asshole. Yeah,
Where
exactly.
You bought that on the Jersey Shore, you piece of shit.
Yeah, where Boogerman was from. Where
Right.
where Snotty
Okay.
Ragerson or
Let's get into that.
Okay.
You're so sure he's from New Jersey or New York.
Yes.
Why?
Something with the chin.
Because he has a big chin?
It's the big chin and the 5 o'clock shadow that they use to animate him.
Right.
It feels like that's how I feel like on Looney Tunes or something like that.
Sure.
Like that's how someone from Brooklyn would be animated.
He looks like he's a thug in the Arkham Knight games.
Yeah. And they
Yeah.
all have, weird because Gotham City has an accent that is,
New York?
it's very New York.
Yeah.
Even though Gotham City is notoriously supposed to be more Chicago.
Yeah, which I've never really understood. Like, I guess Metropolis is New York.
Yeah.
And so Gotham is Chicago, which I don't really get that difference.
Well, Chicago notoriously is like the worst crime city.
It is.
Or one of the worst crime cities in the United States.
Yeah.
So that,
and all those bridges.
bridges.
Yeah, which is always in Gotham.
And all those men dressed as bats.
Yes, oh right, they've got that bat problem.
They got that bat problem, and all of a sudden you're trying to rob a little kid
yeah.
without bugging anyone else,
No.
and a bat elbow drops you from the top of Wayne Tower.
Right.
Leave me alone.
There was also that like huge spat of pearl thefts after operas.
Yes. Well, the one guy went a little too far and killed a mother and a father.
It's a little ironic because he wasn't chill at all. You know,
It was not
No,
chill.
he was
It
not
was
chill.
not chill. But not ironic in the way Alanis Morissette would describe it.
which is not irony at all.
It's not irony at all. Yeah.
I cannot wait for Bat Month, where we just do Batman for a whole month.
Andrew,
We've done so many themes. We
Be
have
still
to.
my heart. Be
I know.
still my heart.
You will just be like, speaking of cocaine, you're just gonna be eyes wide open the whole time. Like, did you see this? Do you remember this part about Batman?
Yes, I'd be like a pig in shit or a Brooklyn superhero in boogers. I would be one of those two things.
Yeah, that will be the 1 month where Mikey does finish.
Every single episode.
Every single episode.
Now, here's one of the things that we were talking about during the gameplay of Boogerman. Very unclear why the levels are covered in boogers.
Yes. Okay. I'm really glad you're bringing this up, Mikey.
Thank you.
Like, it makes no sense that you're going to another world. Okay,
Yes.
totally fine. Wait, is it the fact that they're taking all the trash and is that something? Because that they've been receiving all our trash?
But
Why
our
the
trash
boogers?
isn't just boogers. It is, and I'll give them this.
Okay.
Our trash is 99% boogers.
Yes.
And you can look that up.
That's facts.
That's a fact.
yeah.
But I didn't see much else except for plungers. And you know what? Plungers do make up the last 1% of our trash.
Well, they're one-use items.
Yes.
You use your plunger
And you just get it
gotta
right
toss,
out of there.
Gotta get a new one.
So this makes sense. I think you're right. I think it is just all of our trash.
We're throwing out a lot of goblins.
Throwing out so many goblins.
So many goblins. Got to get them out of here.
Well, those were when the Furbies attacked. We threw them all out, and that's what's in.
So many abandoned gizmos after the Gremlins
after
franchise.
Gremlins. Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. It's weird. Again, I get it. You tried to poke a hole in the story earlier, and it was pretty easy. So maybe we just don't try to do that.
I'm so glad you did the story though, because when I watched the opening, I'm like, oh, that's that.
We
I
had
got
no idea what was
way more
going
from
on.
you, eh? Like, yeah.
Or Wikipedia.
I guess so.
One or the other. Maybe Wikipedia was wrong, and there was some. Maybe he was just a janitor who makes $1 million, or who is a multimillionaire and is also a janitor at a lab.
Yes, yeah. It didn't make any sense, but the actual gameplay, let's say,
man,
were you disgusted by anything? Like, did that?
You know what? Initially, there were moments of repulsion, like seeing Boogerman written in boogers is always gross.
When he ate the booger.
When he ate the booger, that's disgusting. And when I found out that the meter to show how many boogers you have left to flick was like a stringy thing going from the nose, I could feel that in the back of my nasal cavity.
Yeah, I did not like that feeling at all.
Yeah.
So okay, I'm glad to hear that. But we actually start playing it, and it becomes more of a straight down the middle side scroller,
directly down the
platformer.
middle.
Yeah.
Like it was not difficult.
No.
And part of that is welcome, because a lot of these games from this era are so difficult that like Super Ghoulies and Ghosties.
Oh, Super Ghoulies and Ghosties is the hardest game.
Was so hard that we were like, I appreciate it for what it is, but fuck, I don't want to play this game anymore. It's just too hard. This one was like, give me some sort of a challenge. Like I was running over people. Gremlins and snails,
ogres,
peppers, ghosts,
bats,
ghosts and peppers, ghost peppers, bats.
Oh my god!
Did we kill Batman?
I think we killed the Batman.
I don't know though. Like playing through it at first, I thought it was just training, but it became so straightforward and so easy that it's like, why are we even challenging ourselves with this game? Like it wasn't fun.
Yeah.
There was nothing. And I said this as well during the gameplay. Earthworm Jim was frustrating with how difficult it was and the ammo management and that sort of thing. But in spite of its difficulty and frustration, its animation and movement and mobility made it a lot more fun to play than Boogerman did. Boogerman felt stiff, and killing enemies didn't feel like a challenge. So when you did it, it just felt like a means to get from point A to point B, and that's not cool.
No.
What did you
what's
think?
cool? $1 billion. Now I'm with you that like these games can go so many different ways. Obviously this is a approachable style of game, a side-scrolling platformer like that. You're like, okay, cool. I've played a bunch of these. I know what to do. It takes very little instruction. But some of them can be aggressively way too hard.
Yeah.
And it's impossible. And then I never thought it would be the other way.
Yeah.
And that's what this is, where you're like, oh, okay, cool. So to give backstory too, when we play these games, we try and move along pretty quickly so we can see the most possible.
Yes.
If I had the patience to just wait around, I would have beaten this in one turn.
It feels like it.
You could just sit there.
It could get much more difficult afterwards,
Sure.
but we put in a decent amount of time and we're not challenged at all. We did die a couple times, but it was usually because we'd fallen off somewhere like a bridge or something like that, which brings up another issue of you don't really know when you can go down too low to the point of dying or jump up. Like you fell off a bridge and you died. But I jumped down through a ledge and there was just more level there. And there's no way to tell that.
You have to blindly go down.
Yes, exactly.
And like that's insane.
I don't love that.
When you can also die by jumping off things.
Exactly.
Like, that makes no sense to me. But like the level traversing, that was maybe the hardest part.
Oh, like the platforming.
Yeah.
And not hard in the sense that it was difficult to do in the way that like if you didn't do it, you would die. It was hard in the sense that it's like, I think I should be able to get up to that branch because I've gotten to branches that are a similar distance away and you just can't for some reason. And you're like, all right, whatever. I guess I'll either move on or sit here for 5 minutes trying to perfect the jump. Was there anything redeeming for you about this game?
Redeeming. Well, I thought the animation style was very pleasant.
I agree.
I like the way that Boogerman moves. Like I like the character design, but like his motion is really good. And the level design as a whole, like even though it's not the biggest amount of color schemes.
Yes.
I thought it was really pleasant, like, as a thing. I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm trying to find other words other than these things.
I agree. If it weren't boogers, if it were Slime Man, I'd be
Slime Man.
oh, what a good use of color. Like the game looks pretty good.
Jelly Boy.
Jelly Boy.
Yeah, who could forget?
You are a jelly baby.
You are Jelly Baby. You are Jelly Baby. You don't even know at home. You were a Jelly Baby.
Jelly Baby was a great surprise. That was a very fun
That was
game.
a lot of fun, that weird British game, yeah.
That weird British game. I also I did like the animation of the enemies often. You know, it felt kind of like you were playing a bit of a cartoon at some points. And when you had this cute thing where the two gremlins, when they were walking on the same path and they'd run into each other, they'd salute. It was fantastic.
I like that. I like that the world is like a world that you're just walking in through.
Which now is commonplace in video games, but back then probably would have felt like, oh, would they have done this if I weren't here? Like that's really cool to imagine.
Like just think, like this is 1994. You know, the fact that Sonic tapped his foot and looked at you was like, oh my fucking god.
Yeah,
he's aware of me.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
You know?
So I don't have too much more to say, but I would like to give a review because, and here's the shitty thing is like, concept. I would love to talk more about the game or joke more about it, but it is such a straight shot down the middle that it just doesn't have much controversial or overwhelmingly positive to say about it.
Yes.
And because of that, it almost feels like the commentary is dry. And I feel like that's disappointing because in a game that takes such a big swing as to call itself Boogerman, you would think it would fail big or succeed big. Like it just, the fact that this is so mediocre is the most disappointing thing about it.
100%.
Now, so typically, as we mentioned earlier, what we like to do on this podcast is take a look back at the games that we used to play when we were kids. Usually it's something that we had an affinity towards one way or another.
Okay.
We rate and review the games out of 4 bits based on what we thought of it in the back when it came out. Then we rate and review the game afterwards as it holds up in the modern day against like some modern games. And that comparison is what we're all about.
Hey.
But because neither of us, because you don't have any experience having played this game back when it first came out in 94, you're going to be rating it based on what you think you would have thought of it had you played it back in 94, 95.
Yeah.
I am going to give it my actual rating based on what I thought about it when I was playing it as a little kid after my mom reluctantly rented it for me. But why don't you start, Andrew?
Sure.
Out of 4 bits, what do you think you would have thought of this game had you played it back in 94?
So I don't know. Like, you know, like I said, this was not something that I would have found tremendously hilarious. You know, I don't know why I brought up Ren and Stimpy earlier, but like there was a similar thing about that as well where I didn't find it tremendously funny because I was grossed out by it.
Did you like Ren and Stimpy back in the day or no?
Not really.
No, eh? Okay.
No, a little too gross for me.
Okay.
Also unpleasant. Like even the designs of the cartoons and stuff. It was just a little uncomfortable.
It's very off-putting.
Yeah, off-putting. Yes, exactly. So I don't know if I would have loved this sense of humor, which is really the big buy-in, which I'll get into my second review eventually.
Right.
But the big buy-in is like, look at how fucking ridiculous this is. Isn't that fun? And if you're not immediately going, yes, then you're in trouble.
Yes.
So the other side of it is, as a kid, sometimes that pleasure center of success that video games can give you is really intoxicating.
Yes.
This game would have hit that over and over and over again with a mallet because it's so easy.
Right.
So I think I would have liked this game because I'm like, wow, I'm the best in the world at Boogerman.
Yeah.
Just like, you know, when you thought you were the best in the world at some video game and then went to Walmart and played a Wii and you got
Smash Bros.
Smash
It was a
Bros.
GameCube.
There you go. It was a GameCube.
Thanks for listening to my stories.
And so I think it's one of those things where I would have felt like I was the best at it. This is so good. It's really pleasant. It's not hard to break. Like it's very straightforward. I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 4.
Amazing.
I think I would have liked it as a kid.
I agree with you. I think this game, you made the point when we were playing it where we were like, this is so easy. And you said it really kind of cements the idea that they made this game for kids.
Yeah.
Because all the ideas and writing were all over the place. The gameplay, the fact that the gameplay was super easy means this was supposed to be a children's game. But it's funny because back in the day, I saw this as a very mature game because it's dealing with potty humor.
Yeah.
You know, you don't get potty humor this extensive or didn't back in the day, not even on like Rugrats. A show about kids where that would have been super easy.
They're wearing diapers.
Yeah, they're wearing diapers.
Yeah.
It wasn't like farting and shitting and pooping and other words for excrement, the dimension that we were playing in. So this almost felt like, because you could see it, it felt more mature.
Right.
But looking back on it, it's like, oh, of course this was meant for... This was supposed to be the game that kids were like, oh, I shouldn't play it, therefore I want to get it.
Right.
Without it being Grand Theft Auto. Before Grand Theft Auto, there was this.
Yeah.
And I had that element. I did, and I remember when I got it, my brother and I playing it a ton and laughing our ass off at it.
Right.
So I can sit here and say it's not funny anymore, but it was to me as a kid. And we talked about it all the time. We made jokes about flicking boogers at each other after this. So I played a bunch of it. I liked the humor back in the day. I didn't buy it, but I rented it, and I think it was a 1-week rental, so we just consumed the shit out of it when we had it. I'm giving this one a 3 out of 4 as well, which is crazy to say, but
can't believe we're that high on it.
But it worked. Listen,
Hey.
they marketed it towards kids, and it worked on us.
Hey, it worked.
Yeah. What can you say?
What else
more
do you
can say?
want?
So Andrew, what about the modern day? How does this game hold up for you in the modern day? Obviously, you're going to say it's still incredibly funny, and you love the aesthetic. But what else?
stop ruining my review. This is where it gets interesting because a game like this fundamentally works. It works. It still looks pretty pleasant. The controls actually are pretty accurate for a game that is 27 years old. Like it works in every way. So you go, okay, great. The thing is with the overlay and the aesthetic of this gross Boogerman, very childish toilet humor type thing, you expect, hey, we're taking a big swing.
Yes.
Like we're taking a big swing.
Yep.
It's out there. There is a concept. This is what we're doing. And for the most part, even though I disagree with that like as it being a funny thing, you go, oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I appreciate games taking a big swing like that. And then you play the game and it could be not more fundamentally paint by numbers, normal thing ever. There is such a big difference. And now I understand why they take a big swing on it because they had a very basic game on their hands.
Exactly.
So they're like, man, we need to get a real hook into this.
True.
In the modern day, I just don't believe that works. And I also don't believe the gameplay is interesting enough at the time or currently that you would go back for any other reason other than the title and literally the character.
Yes.
And those don't really hold any weight throughout the game.
Yeah.
So I just don't think it's a real success in the modern day. Even though I gave it a 3 out of 4 as a kid, I'm giving it a 1.5 because I just don't think this is successful.
Yeah, this is coming out in the golden age of platformers, maybe just on the other side of it. But we're talking about 1994. And in 1994, we have Donkey Kong Country. We have Super Metroid. We have Sonic the Hedgehog 3.
Right.
We've got, I'm just looking for similar games to compare it to.
Okay.
You could also say The Lion King was another really big game.
Which game we'll play?
Yeah, eventually we'll have to play that one. So there were a ton out there that were much better than this one.
Yeah.
And if you're looking for that hit of nostalgia, I can't imagine Boogerman is going to have more nostalgia than Donkey Kong. You know, Boogerman never became entrenched in our consciousness the way that most other famous mascots did. So unless this was very personal to you when it first came out, which I can't imagine it is, but maybe for some of you, there's just even the nostalgia hit isn't there. And because the gameplay is so, like you said, paint by numbers, I don't know that there's really much of a reason to go back to this at all.
No.
We didn't laugh, except for the only time we laughed was in the beginning when he farts the S onto Sega and then lands and flicks a booger at the screen. And that was just one little chuckle, but that's it. Beyond that, we didn't laugh at all.
Yeah.
And there weren't many more redeeming moments. I actively didn't enjoy playing the game because it was so monotonous.
Which at the end of the day
is what matters.
That's what matters.
If you're not laughing and you're not enjoying the game, what do you have there? And I'm not even feeling nostalgic about it. I'm giving this one actually a 1 out of 4.
Okay.
There's just so many other great games from around this time you can go play. Funnier games as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I just don't know what there is left in this one for us.
No, you know what's funny? I've been trying to think about that game. Like, remember Thief?
Thief, yeah.
Right? And it was like, was that the game? I'm sorry, but was that the game where it's like super aggressively like violent and like, I'm just trying to think of the games that if they put themselves out there and say at the time, we're pushing the edge, we're edgy, we're this, those lines change.
Yes.
And over the years, that thing is not going to be like, even Sonic going like, we're the fastest. You're like, well, you're not the fastest.
It doesn't feel very fast anymore.
So it's like, those are the things that age itself very poorly. And if you're going, we're regressive because of the level of humor we're giving.
Sure.
And you're not funny and it's not aggressive. Hey, what are we doing?
That's a good point. When you really think, when you're making a game just to push the envelope, it turns out society catches up with that pretty quickly.
Yes.
And because maybe they were trying to be almost tongue in cheek or booger in nose because of like how blatant the booger jokes were and the toilet humor was in this, but like we grew past that in terms of finding like Jackass being out, finding other ways to be gross and funny at the same time.
Totally.
And this just doesn't land. It's unfortunate, but I don't think there's any reason to go back to this game.
Wow, there we go. And I think our scores kind of say that too.
Yeah.
So two threes in our retro score. That's at 6 out of 8. And then a current 2.5 out of 8 for a combined score of 8.5 out of 16.
And there's only one thing left. We got to find out what awards that score warrants the game. So I hear the band warming up, and let's tune it over to them.
Absolutely.
You've been waiting for it all year. The most glamorous award ceremony of the week. Ladies and gentlemen, the Grady's.
Oh, wow. Beautiful. Wow. It's just oboes all over.
Yes. It's a whole oboe orchestra.
But it's interesting the
orchestra.
Apparently those are legal in Texas right now. It's amazing that they were playing all the instruments through their nose.
Yeah, they're all using nose flutes.
That's very impressive.
It
That's
is
very impressive.
when you think about it.
Yeah,
And if you don't think about it, not impressive at all.
And you probably shouldn't think about it.
No, do not.
Because it's not a good image to have in your head at all.
Like the Matrix. It'll melt your brain out your ears.
Speaking of things that look melted, Elliot,
Yeah, what's going
looking
on?
normal, but just with a giant bat in the cave.
Yeah,
Just a big booger in his nose, and it's unsettling.
I am so excited for this episode, Dad. I'm so excited to not talk about boogers ever again. There wasn't a Boogerman 2, was there?
No.
Thank Christ. Okay.
So Elliot, why don't you? It's in the envelope's in his nose.
Yeah, it's truly disgusting.
Reach out your nose and grab that envelope and let us know what awards this game has won.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Chirp, 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 chirp.
Yeah.
Chirp, chirp.
That's you now getting on his case.
That's
eh?
what you were doing to this game.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, oh, this game sucks.
Well,
Well, before we played it.
Yeah.
Like, booger jokes suck.
yeah, no. And then we played it and you're like, I never in a million years expected the outcome of this to be like, what a very boring down the middle game.
I know. That is, I think, ultimately its biggest detriment.
It's truly damning in that way.
It's truly damning in that way. They tried to take a big swing and we didn't even notice it in the modern day. So what we have to do now is give it its custom awards.
Okay.
Andrew, you were handed an envelope. I was handed an envelope. I've got my award.
You want to name yours? Okay.
It's a really complicated one. Okay, I'm pulling this out. Oh, okay. This one is the Don't Pick, Don't Flick award because don't pick this one up to play and instead flick it away.
Oh, I think obviously that's a good award to get.
It's
you know
very
what I mean?
fitting for the game.
Yes. I was going to say, so mine is the creators need a new Shanky. Oh, not a hanky. They need to get stabbed.
Wow.
Oh, my
Andrew,
God.
That is an aggressive way to look at it.
Time to die.
Whoever...
I wish no anybody bodily harm, but yes,
Too late. Can't take it back.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't put the toothpaste back in the tube.
But yeah, no, I think this is like one of those ones where you're trying to profit off of a novel concept,
Yes.
and really, ultimately, I think it's sizzle no steak.
Yeah, I hear you on that one. Well, it was a fun episode nonetheless.
It really
I enjoyed
was.
talking to you.
Thank you.
Not about the game necessarily, but I loved when I got to talk about other things that I was doing and you just had to listen.
Yeah, I appreciate that. You
was
talked
super
about
fun.
Deathloop. You talked about the Batman. We
Yeah.
talked about Spider-Man, the
Yeah.
Matrix. We talked about lots of stuff.
Lots of stuff.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for joining us on the Retrograde podcast. We love every single one of you, and we can't wait to talk to you soon. My name's Andrew Bascom, and with me as always is the bad boy of podcasting, Mr. Bebop himself.
Mikey Aaronworth.
I was going to say my name's Andrew. Well, my name's Andrew Bascom also.
yeah.
This is the Retrograde podcast.
Game over.
My name's Andrew Bascom.
Play Free Bird. That's a reference for someone, not you.
Thank you so much for listening to the Retrograde podcast.
We look forward to recording this podcast all week long, and we hope you guys look forward to listening to it.
You know how we got into retro video game podcasting for the money and the babes? We're really in it for the ratings and reviews.
Money is ratings. Reviews are babes.
Please subscribe, rate, and review wherever you enjoy podcasts.
For any business inquiries, you can always email the retrogradepodcast@gmail.com.
You can find us on Twitter at RetrogradePod.
And you can find Andrew on Twitter @RetrogradeAndy,
And then Mikey at Retrograde Mikey.
Instagram @The Retrograde Podcast. And remember, find us on Patreon, patreon.com/The Retrograde Podcast for all of your non-essential but very much enjoyable content. We don't ask that you give us much, apart from joining our Patreon. But what we do ask is that you join this community that we've grown. Also, give us some of your blood.
Yeah. I want some of your hair in a bag. Thanks for listening from your two dads.
Furnished by Sad Styles Productions.
Genitalia is disgusting.